Hey everybody, this is Talking of Carl back again, talking about, or at least giving a spoiler review of the Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie Pyramid of Light. Uh, I decided at the last minute put this in after I wrapped up Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters arc. So this movie is set apparently in between. Funny thing, because when I was watching this on Amazon Prime, it was a bit of trivia that I usually like to browse through, and I honestly did not. Well, I should have suspected, or at least have an inkling back in the day. This movie, when it came out in theaters, it was supposed to be set. It's kind of non-canon, quote unquote non-canon, but it kind of is because they reference Battle City, and this is supposed to be set after the events of Battle City. And when this movie was released, Battle City was still going on. So whomever went to go see this movie was totally spoiled of the ending of the Battle City arc. So it's like I was like, wow. I don't think I ever, no, I didn't go see this in the theater. But a little personal story about this movie. When I was a kid, when I'm pretty sure it was around the time when I started like earning allowance, and the first DVD that I ever bought for myself was the Yu-Gi-Oh! The Pyramid of Light movie, and I held that movie near and dear to my heart. And a little while, I don't even know if I had it for more than a year, maybe, but long after my youngest brother was like born, he was like still like a baby at the time, and I forgot what transpired, but my stepmother was yelling at me. I'm pretty sure it was, I don't know, it was like my room wasn't clean or something wasn't clean. It was like probably something referencing that. It's usually the case back in the day, and uh my little brother was like, just sitting on my bed, just messing around with stuff that was like, in front of him. It was around that time when like babies just start grabbing random crap. And, he picked up, why my DVD was even like, on my bed. I'm pretty sure she started tossing crap because it was like out of sorts in her eyes. And just tossing crap on my bed for me to sort out properly or whatever. And my little brother picked up the thing. He was smart enough to open up the case, and he's in there like playing with the disc, and I'm sitting there like looking at him, and it's like, and then as soon as he like saw that he was picking up my DVD, she was like, yeah, like, oh, he breaks that sucker. And it's like 1 to 2 seconds after she said it, he snapped the thing right in half. And no joke, I was furious. Not at my brother, he was a baby, he didn't have no clue. But I was furious at her because she laid the groundwork for that crap to happen. And it's like it was like a very cherished thing. It was like my first thing I spent money on, and it's like just broken in half. And yes, I can easily buy another DVD of it, but it was the sentimental value of it. And it's like to this day, like every once in a while, it kind of pops back into my head, especially after revisiting this movie. That kind of like brings that back because it's like still bothersome. She's never bothered to apologize for that crap because she didn't purposely do it, but she laid the groundwork for that to be led to that happening. So it's like it's a thing for me. But anyway, on to the movie. Now, after and of course check out my Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, season 1 through 5 spoiler reviews. But after the Battle City arc, uh, Yugi and his friends are back in school. The whole ordeal with Merrick is over, and now that Yugi's been, worldwide, you know, uh, uh, crowned king of games again, because after he already won the Duelist Kingdom tournament and he won the Battle City tournament, now, and he has like the rarest cards in the world, the Egyptian God cards. So now, broadcasts everywhere, everybody's sitting there like, loading up their decks and dual discs and like, standing right outside of his school, ready to like, just pounce on the dudes like, oh, give me like a chance at those God cards. And it's like, like you being dragged by Ted just to trying to like just book it out of there, because it's like he's getting mobbed pretty much. It was like a funny little bit. It's just like Tristan and Joey trying to step in, and you get to see. Well, I kind of wish you see Joey a little bit, play more of a match a little bit, but you get a sliver. You get him see him summon his Gifford the Lightning and just mollywop some kid, because a lot of them were clowning Joey. It's like I mean, he was runner up for a lot of these tournaments, and you would think you got at least a sliver of respect. I mean, like before the events of Duelist Kingdom, Rex Raptor was a runner up after he lost against Weevil, and he still got as during the Seal of Orichalco's arc that I reviewed, he was still getting like like he was kind of sort of friends with Weevil despite that loss, and it's like they both still garner some respect in from the crowds and stuff like that. I'm shocked that people are not just giving Joey at least a bit of that respect too. Like, come on, like dude managed to make it all the way to the finals of Battle City. None of y'all didn't. Like, it was like during the finals, it was like Merrick, Yugi, Joey, Kaiba, Shizu, Odeon, Mai, and Bakura. That's it. Ain't none of y'all, y'all chumps was there. So y'all need to shut the F up forever while you're sitting there talking all that shit. That's the thing. Like I love Joey Wheeler, and I would definitely go up the bat for Joey, because his cards are not as good as like Joey. I mean, as Yugi or Kaiba. Not by your stress of imagination, obviously, but it's fucking good, and it's like it was definitely good enough to get him as far as like the Final Four. So like, and people got the nerve to clown him. Is galling to me. It's like, that's something I don't even think I even brought up, at least not that much in my reviews of the Duel Monsters series, is that Joey Wheeler, I mean, of course he's, I wouldn't say he sucked, but it's like, he was still learning during the Duelist Kingdom arc. But by the time like the end of Battle City, you see like a massive change in his skills, and it's like come on, it's like it's gotta be people out there at least a little, and people love Yu-Gi-Oh, and there's gonna be fans of Kaiba, of course, but out of that crowd there has to be like some bits and pieces of Joey Wheeler fans out there. I mean, by just by sheer ratio or numbers or fractions or something like that. They gotta be some fans out there that's like rooting for Joey Wheeler. I mean, come on, it's like the fact that he dominated with luck-based cards in combination with his Red Eyes cards, It's like he should not be slept on. But anyway, uh, Tayan, well, even before you like this whole entire thing start, you see like people uh like archaeologists uh digging through some ruins in Egypt, and he found like a chained up sarcophagus of Anubis, some kind of like sorcerer who calls himself Anubis, but you know, it, they make it seem like it's actual Anubis, but in Anubis in Egyptian mythology is an Egyptian god. He wasn't an actual walking being that was eventually died and mummified uh, in like a typical person. But apparently he was in this movie, to the point where like you see it gives me like the Mummy vibes with Brandon Fraser, and it's kind of like he kind of like fits the mold of Imhotep. You know what I mean? And he's like his spirit or essence that can't do much, but it slightly influenced certain events to give rise for his return, because he was defeated by the Pharaoh 5,000 years ago. Another side note in the trivia that I found very interesting is that we all know eventually we found out the Pharaoh's name, Atem. In the English dub, they always stated 5,000 years ago in ancient Egypt. And in our historical records, in real life, we can only go as far back in ancient Egypt's history as 3000 BC. That's about as far as back as go. So I think Kazuki Takahashi, who created Yu-Gi-Oh, set it to like that long 5,000 years ago, so that way he can, which is very smart, like be able to play fast and loose with a bit of the history without seem like he's won't be called on certain things, because nobody can actually prove him wrong, so he can just play around on the field a little bit. So he's his spirit's visiting like Pegasus, and like sneaking cards in his safe. And then eventually, because the tomb eventually started collapsing, people were who unlocked his tomb, where they found his sarcophagus. Well, it's weird because his sarcophagus is outside of a hidden chamber. Well, at least not so hidden. It was actually a door that they finally got around to unlocking, and they walk inside, and like they eventually found like this pyramid of light. It's kind of like the inverse of the Millennium Puzzle. While the puzzle is like just a regular triangle like this, newest thing is like flipped upside down to make it look like an actual pyramid. Well, yeah, technically Yugi's puzzle is an upside down pyramid, and the Anubis pyramid is right side up, technically. So that's another thing. Because you hear all these stories about like cursed burials of Egyptian pharaohs and priests and everything like that, and like when they walk in that chamber, the door shuts behind them, and like everything starts collapsing. And even outside of all this, during the excavations, you see ground collapsing, and like everything crumbling. But somehow, when like Yugi and Taya like run into the history museum to avoid the crowd, they see not only the sarcophagus but the pyramid of light on display. I'm thinking to myself, because like after revisiting, I never bothered to like question it as a kid. It's like, how after apparently it's supposed to be collapsing and everything like that, is sinking into the ground and stuff like that. Who managed to get this stuff to the museum? Now, of course, then again, this is around the same time when they was excavating this tomb. This is around the same time when Yugi in Japan is putting together his puzzle for the first time. Because when Anubis arises, uh, he mentions that his spirit was wandering around, uh, uh, apparently, at the same, his spirit was released and wandered around at the same time as Yugi unlocked the Pharaoh spirit when he put together the puzzle. So don't know what he's been up to this whole doggone time, but well, he couldn't do much. I guess he was still linked to his corpse, which as soon as Yugi and Taya and his grandfather was there looking at, because he's an archaeologist, or at least used to be, and they're looking at the, sarcophagus and the mummified corpse. As soon as Yugi puzzle gets close to it, everything started like vitalizing and everything like that. Somehow the corpse, or at least like yeah, because the mummified corpse went missing after this blinding light shoots out, knocking Taya, Yugi, and Grandpa on their butts, and now the corpse and the pyramid of light is completely missing. Now realizing it's kind of like magically sucked into Yugi's puzzle as soon as they both are put in the same vicinity with each other. While this is going on, Kaiba is just going through his like, it's like, oh, how rich is this guy? I mean, like, of course, him teaming up with Pegasus, making dual disc technology, holograms, and in combination with the card game, obviously that would make him quite a bit of money, but not to the extent where he's like, well, of course he's like a cutting edge in holographic technology, but it's just like the things he's managed to do, making like a jet out, having his own private jet in the shape of a blue eyes white dragon, and all this other stuff he's got going on. It's like, like, dude, like they treating him like Tony Stark in a way, just like before, like, Iron Man became like a household name after the MCU, because this is like a few years prior before. I think this movie came out like at least a few years prior to the first Iron Man movie, at least a good 4 years or so, and. But he's like, strutting around like he's Tony Stark in a way, and it's like they putting together simulations with simulated cards that Yugi uses, and he keeps trying to replay a battle between him and Yugi, and it always ends up with him losing because of those god cards. And it's like, and he's yelling at his people, it's like, find me like the perfect strategy. That's what I'm hiring you for. To find a way to beat those god cards. And it's like, you can't. It's like individual, like it's stated in the last, the final duel of the last few episodes of Duel Monsters, stated by Merrick. Individually, they have some slight weaknesses, but when you put them all together, they're set up in a way that they can easily get each other's back, and it makes it even damn near impossible. I wouldn't say is you can't do it, but I would say like is make it all the more difficult to deal with them. So you yelling at them for something that was created by Pegasus in order to be like the most like effective cards in all of the game. So when he comes to realize this, he goes to Pegasus, on his Duelist Kingdom Island to, because he figured like, you wouldn't create these cards and let them out of your hands unless you figure out a way, unless you had something in order to defeat them. Now, according to this, Pegasus at this point is like, after creating the card game, and he has like this his own private island. He's kind of like yeah, like as he plays, he retires, so he's living like a life of luxury and things like that. It's like, wouldn't that be nice? But I don't even know. It's like, I mean, like it'd be nice to like have like a nice like little resort on a private island, or at least a nice almost like mini resort on a private island, and not like a hut or anything like that. Well, hut's kind of modernized, but a little maybe like a bungalow or something like that. That'd be nice. But Duelist Kingdom, he has like his own little castle and everything like that, and uh, I mean, it's not much to do there. I guess he got all he needs on that uh in that castle, but on the island, it's just like besides the uh dueling arenas hidden all over the place, it's just like forests, caves, and like surrounded by water. I mean, like a little mini mountain ranges or hills or whatever on other parts of the islands. Like that's like super secluded. I mean, like to its own, it could be better islands for you to retire on, like Hawaii or Jamaica, or if you like living in a tropical area. But I guess he likes the seclusion, minus the few security and servants that's in the castle with him. He literally has a freaking dungeon. If you remember that from Duelist Kingdom, he has a freaking dungeon in the castle. But yeah, apparently he lives there. Every so often he flies out to go to his company's HQ, which is apparently in, if you've seen in the Seal of Orichalco's Waking of the Dragons art, is in San Francisco. So besides that, that's where he resides. So when Kaiba confronts him, stating that he'll, if he loses a duel against him, he'll give his 3 blue eyes white dragons he put up as collateral. Otherwise, if he wins, he gets whatever card he has to in order to beat the god cards. So of course the duel commenced. It's always nice to see these two duel. And there was this moment when like Pegasus was like playing a magic card called Cost Down, which requires you to discard 1 card in your hand to lower for 1 turn of the turn that you're going on right now. When you play the card, it lowers all the monsters in your hand by 2 levels, making it easier to summon monsters for the turn. And as he's describing this, Kaiba interrupts and is like, don't you get tired of talking? Or don't you get tired of hearing your own voice? I know what the card does. It allows you to discard 1 card to lower the levels of all the monsters in your hand in order to play it. Why don't you take me some kind of noob? And I'm thinking to myself, I wish y'all can say that for anytime somebody plays Pot of Greed. And it's been like a running joke in like the Yu-Gi-Oh community when they watch the anime, and people constantly, describe certain cards that it's the most common and it's been around since the creation of the card game, that we know what it does. Especially after we see it play out in like the anime, or if you read it in a manga, things like Pot of Greed, Monster Reborn, Swords of Real and Light, Mirror Force, one of the very OG kind of cards that's very commonly used in a lot of decks. Except if you're even if they're banned from tournament use, you still know what they do. You draw 2 cards. That's all it does. And it's just like, unless you're dealing with a kid, that's already like learning the game or not familiar with the game in the first place, yeah. But even so, all they have to do is read the text. But they will probably, state the description because they're a good hint that they're noobs, because they just describing what the card does. Because the only time you describe what the card does, if it's kind of fresh in circulation. or you ever seen like that archetype being played out before? Like if you're playing like I mentioned this before when I played the Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duels game on my channel, which you can check out on my YouTube channel or even my Twitch channel, youtube.com/talkativecarl and twitch.tv/talkativecarl. There's this archetype, at least a few archetypes that I love so much that I will be replaying for another video, a special video. But it's like the Six Samurai deck, for example, which I love that archetype. Not many people, play that. And like when there's a couple of cards out there, there's a couple of monster cards, which allows you to special summon them straight to the field, only as long as you have another Six Samurai already there on the field, so that way you can quickly get more monsters on the field. Not unlike how the Blackwing deck operates, when it's like it requires you to be able to summon more monsters. So some people might not be as familiar because it's not like a commonly used card, like in every deck. So like Swords of Revealing Light, your opponent cannot attack for 3 turns. So that one is used by a lot of people and has been in circulation since the game's inception, so you know what it does. That's just the thing with me. But Kaiba eventually beats Pegasus, but it's like a funny little, I won't say funny, but it's just like a weird thing, because I know how like when people duel, unless it's a shadow game, because let's talk about like normal dueling between 2 people with no shadow games involved. These are holograms, mind you, and when you take a direct hit, like in this case when Pegasus took a direct hit from XYZ Dragon Cannon, it looked like he was getting actually hit by a blast. Now, for one thing I'm thinking of is that these are holograms. None of that stuff should be affecting you. As a matter of fact, it should be like passing right through you. And the only thing it's doing is either affecting your life points or destroying your monster. That is it. But if it's making like, or at least making it seem like it's making physical contact, maybe the holograms are, so advanced, made by Kaiba, where they actually put in like not like real. I kind of equate it to somewhat to like the Green Lantern's constructs when they make, let's say like when the Green Lanterns make a boxing glove to hit somebody with. It's a hard like construct, so you actually will feel that thing as it hits you. Now it can also make it intangible, so it can just pass right through you. I'm thinking like these holograms that Kaiba had created in conjunction with this card game. They're like somewhere in between, where it's like only give you like a I don't know how minor, because some people get like knocked on their butts by certain attacks, but it gives you like only as much pressure as like somebody shoving you, maybe, or at least someone on that level. Sometimes you get hit by an electric blast or something like that, and people like start reeling in pain. It's not actual pain, but they kind of wince like it is. But it's like if I get hit by like a Blue Eyes White Dragon direct white lightning attack, I might like, and it's like I'm doing that. It makes it seem like I'm actually getting hurt. So I'm assuming like, because I never brought this up during the entire reviews of Duel Monsters. It's like, are there, there's some components is offering maybe like tingles to insinuate like this is your moment to like realize you're being affected by this direct attack or something like that, and like maybe you like some kind of like like static, you get like a static shock when like something is rubbing against like carpet and touch you and you get like a sting. Maybe it's something on that level where it's like you feel it, but it's not going to kill you. But the thing is, and I remember in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, the main character Jaden, here and there has commented on a couple of characters that of course, I will talk about it once we get to it. But when the characters take attacks, they just don't budge, and it's like it's like I took the attack and it affected my life points, but I'm not even gonna like I'm not even gonna what's the word placate to what you expect me to do until moments later when stuff got real and they're losing ground and then getting hit more. Then they started doing their Winston crap, and it's like, okay, is it affecting you or is it not? Because if you're not in a shadow game, because shadow games make it real, definitely, but when you're not part of that, and it's like, I don't know. As the series went on, I'm pretty sure the advancement in holographic technology, became more superior from the point of 5Ds moving forward. But it was, as a kid, that always did bug me, and it bugged a lot of people, and it's very confusing. I'm not sure if they left it ambiguous on purpose throughout the years, as far as like how that is played out, but that's just my take on it. It's just always been weird. But anyway, Mokuba sends, Kaiba sends Mokuba out to find Yugi to bring him to this dueling dome area that's like, only like a block or so away from behind Kaiba Corporation. And as they get there and they're realizing like there's mysterious forces, is messing with certain things. And of course, when Yugi or Pharaoh in this case, gets there, they trying to let him know. And of course, I mean, he's wants to make sure that Kaiba, he's trying to tell Kaiba what's up, but Kaiba's obviously not listening. But and first and foremost, when like Kaiba got those cards, because he's like, it's supposed to be one card according to Pegasus, but there was actually two, which confuses Pegasus. And then I guess as soon as he got those cards, it starts slowly, Anubis starts slowly possessing Kaiba, influences his certain decisions and making him a little bit more aggressive than like, well, it's hard to tell because when Kaiba duels, he's like more of an asshole than usual. But this is like kind of like adding a little bit action on that. But Yugi should know that he can explain to he's blue in the face. He knows that by this point in canon, Kaiba's not going to believe a lick of what you're saying. He's saying this is all like the holographic. He'll assume this is going to be just holograms and everything like that. So you shouldn't even waste your breath. Matter of fact, you should, if like, Kaiba locked him in as soon as he went into the arena. Yugi did not have to, placate and just duel him. He can just set it out and just sat there until eventually Kaiba had to let him go because essentially it's kidnapping. So he has to let him go. He didn't have to duel, but of course he duels anyway. And it's an awesome duel, by the way. This is fun. There was this like a bit of trivia where I eventually took notice, but it was spoken in like another trivia on the Amazon Prime when I'm watching this. At a certain part of the duel, before he summoned his first Blue Eyes White Dragon, he played White Dragon Ritual Magic card to summon his Paladin of White Dragon. Now, Paladin of White Dragon is a level 4 ritual monster that it can easily, attack a monster or whatever like that, like normal. But he can also sacrifice himself so he can special summon any Blue Eyes White Dragon straight to the field. But that Blue Eyes cannot attack once that effect activates. That's why he attacked with the Paladin first. But later on, he eventually summons Shining Blue Eyes White Dragon that he got from Pegasus. And this is long after he used a chart card that he also got from Pegasus, but it wasn't from Pegasus. It was from Anubis, called the Pyramid of Light, that kind of banishes Yugi's Egyptian God cards outside the field, so they cannot affect anything that's going on inside uh, the pyramid where the duel is commencing. And this is also affecting Yugi's puzzle, where it forces little Yugi inside the puzzle, his spirit inside the puzzle, unable to communicate with the Pharaoh like normal. And anybody in the vicinity, like Joey and Tristan, gets sucked in as well. Uh, and where they found like the tomb, as a sarcophagus of Anubis, who's anytime Yugi and Kaiba is like, well, Yugi specifically losing uh, uh, life points, energy is being drained and used to uh, power up Anubis. Like I said, it's not unlike how like the Mummy, where Imhotep is sucking like the life force out of his victims in order to regenerate. This is the same thing, except he's not walking around doing it physically. Uh, uh, as he summons his shining blue eyes dragon, its special ability, at least one of them, it powers up by 300 attack points per dragon in his graveyard, and raises it to like 4,500 or 4,800, but it should be a little bit more because Paladin White Dragon is also a dragon type, but it was not accounted for. And if it, there's certain things I liked what they did in this movie that they never did in the anime that I like here, but they still are susceptible to the same little things, little slight errors in the duels that you find in the anime. If the Paladin dragon was accounted for, the shining blue eyes would have been strong enough to take out Pharaoh's most powerful magician he managed to summon. That was definitely more powerful than any one of those blue eyes. But and he would have won the duel, but they didn't do that. But the thing I liked in this movie that I thought was so cool that they finally included text messages like you see in real life on Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They did that for the movie. Now, of course, I'm going to review the other movies in the future, but I cannot remember. I'll see later, but I cannot remember if they also included the text boxes for the cards in those movies as well. I'm pretty sure they do. I'm pretty sure they do. But that's one of the things I liked in the film that was very unique that you never get to see in the. I guess it's like too much for the budget for the animation department in the series in order to utilize that function. But it's fine. They get a better budget for this in order to facilitate that need. But eventually, Anubis got strong enough to resurrect himself and knock Kaiba to the side because he's like big and bulky. He's probably like a little bit taller than like the Rock almost, because the Rock is like a big dude, and it kind of reminds me of that, but with hair. And he's like, grab Kaiba by the head. He's like, so big. He's grabbing Kaiba. Kaiba's already a tall dude, and he's grabbing him by the head like a little kid and just tossing him to the side. And he's seeking revenge against the Pharaoh for ruining his plans of domination, during Egyptian times, and he's looking for revenge. And he summoned two more monsters, and like these monsters, Andros Sphinx and Sphinx Telea, and the Pyramid of Light were and Water Pond. I think those were the 4 cards that you get when you went to go see this movie, or get at least you get one out of the 4. Either when you go to the movie in the theaters as they pass them out, or, and I miss when they do that, or because they do that with the video games as well. But at this point we're buying our games digitally for the most part. But So I figured they might have to do something where they kind of like add that to one of the games. If you're buying like a movie or a game directly to your console or something like that, you get, some kind of transfer of a, free card or something like that. But anyway, when I got the DVD, I got the Pyramid of Light card, trap card, and I still have that. As a matter of fact, like this in my collection of cards, I still have that to this day. And some people end up getting Wadapon, but other people were like lucky enough to get like Angel Sphinx or Sphinx Telea. Was a very powerful cards. Uh, Anubis managed to summon. And let me mention this before I forget, because I wanted to like hold this in my brain as I'm doing this review. Earlier in the film, like when Yugi's having like a premonition about this event, you see like Anubis attacking Kaiba, but he's having like that. Anubis in Egyptian mythology has like a dog's head, and you see that in the premonition. He's like a big. I can't even remember if I saw this as a kid or not. I don't know if it was like cut out or something like that. I can't remember. But this kind of like when I saw this scene, I was like, I don't remember this scene before. It was jarring to see like you got this big, massive, bulky, muscular dude with a dog's head talking and and stuff, and tossing Kaiba to the side. But you don't see that here. He's like, I also got a human head. So that's what I was always wondering: is this really Anubis or just uh, 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 a very old priest dealing with dark magic that's named Anubis or calls himself Anubis? But let's say he's just Anubis just by, just by the way they're describing. He's actually Anubis. He summons those monsters, and Yugi manages to, of course, because Kaiba initially wanted to like use Shining Blue Eyes other ability to destroy the Pyramid of Light card so he can bring the Egyptian God cards back in the field, but he has a card in play, at least in hand or face down. Yeah, it's face down in order to, summon those blue eyes on his side so he can, in his own mind, have the perfect duel against Yugi by using his own cards against him. But Anubis wasn't playing with that. That's when he stepped in. But Yugi managed to summon Shining Blue Eyes on his side of the field, utilize that special ability, and this time make sure it destroys that trap card, brings his Egyptian God cards back, and beats Anubis once and for all. So, everything's back to normal. Kaiba's a little more level-headed. He still didn't think any of this was real. He doesn't know where that guy came from, but he just tells Yugi, we'll finish this rematch, someday. That kind of thing. But that's pretty much the end of the movie. It apparently did not do so well in the box office when it came out. I'm not sure if it's just more of a cult following with the Yu-Gi-Oh fans out there in the world. I still enjoy this film. It's relative. I won't say it's short, but as far as like an anime movie, it was pretty damn good in my opinion. Maybe I'm a little biased because I still love the anime. It's tied with Pokemon as far as like my favorite animes in the entire world. And like, but it's the one I go to probably most often than any show. I mean, like aside from maybe like Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like a live action. I won't say live action, but it's like kind of like a TV show that I also go back to almost like every other day. Yu-Gi-Oh is the same thing. It's like the two primary shows I revisit more often than not if I just want to just chill out and just like everybody got that kind of TV show that they can just turn on and just like it's just like a comfort kind of TV show that they can just, no matter how many times they watch it, they can just just relive the episode and never gets boring. The Batman animated series is like that. For me to a certain extent, there's a lot of great episodes out of that. A lot of people will, it's one of the greatest TV shows of all time. Let's be real. Spider-Man 90s Spider-Man TV shows like that as well. X-Men 90s TV shows like that. It's just those are the kind of like shows in a lot of people's cases that's like you can easily go back to. It varies here and there depending on people's taste, but in my opinion, those are like the crown jewels of TV shows that, and Pokemon as well. Those are the crown jewels of TV shows that people relatively like to go back to and relive because that's their nostalgia, that's their childhood. Power Rangers can be, a lot of people's go-to comfort TV shows they can easily go back to. But yeah, like Yu-Gi-Oh and Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like the primary two that I go back to like almost every other day if I just don't feel like doing much else, or just like us want to revisit this episode and just watch it just to chill. Just like like eating dinner and just like having like a chill moment, just watching like a random show from one of my favorite series. But yeah, that was the Pyramid of Light movie. Is it perfect? No, but it's entertaining, and it's like I didn't really question it as much as when I first saw it as a kid. I just thought it was just like a really fun watch. Maybe it's a fun watch from people who are fans of the series. But anybody else who's not familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh might not enjoy it. But it's a fun ride, and I don't think it's a good idea watching this. Not only there's slight spoilers in the beginning of the film to the Battle City arc, but if you're not familiar with the franchise, I would suggest somebody who want to get into Yu-Gi-Oh, watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, at least season 1 up till the season 1 through 3. Watch those first before you get into the first movie, so that way you don't have to worry about certain spoilers. But after that, definitely watch the rest of Yu-Gi-Oh. But the Bonds Beyond Time movie, which I'll eventually get to, well, I was now I'm thinking about it, I probably should, because it ties in three of the main protagonists from Duel Monsters GX and 5Ds coming together in like a huge team up. So once I get to that, I would probably have to finish up 5Ds, finish up GX and 5Ds first, then get to Bonds Beyond Time. Then I'll go right into Dark Side of Dimensions, because it's just another. It's like people from the original series returning into this massive movie event, which I think did a whole lot better than this movie. But we'll get to it eventually. But the next movie review will be all the Spider-Man movies, including Venom, Spider-Verse, and also I gotta squeeze in the Nolan movies because I've been wanting to do that for a minute, but I need to, put in some time. But I just want to make sure I dedicate some considerable time to talk about those films. But those are something I want to get. Well, at least the Spider-Man ones I definitely want to get done before the Spider-Man 3 comes out in December. So that's the overall goal. But yeah, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to Talkative Carl on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Follow me on my Patreon. That's patreon.com/TalkativeCarl. All the links are in the description of this video and other videos as well. I'll have this up in a second, but I will see you guys soon. I'll be getting back to playing some more Ghost of Tsushima DLC, and probably have to set some. Well, I'm probably gonna make it Sunday where I'll set some time out to wrap up Final Fantasy X. I'll eventually get back to Horizon Zero Dawn, but yeah, I wanted to get into Ghost of Tsushima last night, but after the eating that one chip challenge, which is another video that I put up to celebrate my 100 subscribers that I finally got once I met that goal. I wrapped up some other reviews that I need to take care of, like One Punch Man season 2 and other stuff. I just need to lay down and like relax, because that stuff was like eventually had to run through me, and it was painful coming out as it was coming in kind of situation. So yeah, so now I'll definitely get back into some Ghost of Tsushima. So in a little bit, look forward to that. So I will see you guys later.